Hi everyone, I am MMS. Today I am going to discuss Ode to the West Wind, written by P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley is one of the 5 romantic poets, and his fame lies in his lyricism and a revolutionary spirit. Shelley is said to be a revolutionary spirit because in his poems he shows the very way of revolution. He shows the rough and tough attitude towards the universe. Shelley was physically robust, he was mentally fit, but the conjunctive disease had undone everything. Naturally, he becomes a caricature to his former physical hardihood. Now, externally, he has been drooping, but internally, he is still energized, and he writes Ode to the West Wind only to show the revolutionary spirit. And the poem has been written in Tarjaraima, meaning a stanza of 3 lines. And Shelley here presents the West Wind as the spiritual being. The powerful West Wind is obviously spiritual, otherwise it cannot walk so noticeably. Boyhood Shelley had the energy, had the spirit, and now he has lost everything. At present, this revolutionary spirit is possessed by Shelley, by the West Wind, and now Shelley is drawn to the energy of the West Wind. Actually, he wants to be the sharer of energy and activity possessed by the West Wind. To be frank, we may say that West Wind is the projection of Shelley's internal self. So, West Wind and Shelley are interlinked with one another. And now let's come to the text. In the first stanza, Shelley describes West Wind's activities on the land, and he starts the poem, "O wild West Wind, the breather bottom's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven, like ghost from an enchanter play." In the very beginning, the West Wind is supposed to be wild because of its hyperactivity, wild because of its incalculable activities. The breather bottom's being, it is the West Wind of the bottom, and the West Wind has taken birth from the breath of bottom. The very word breathe indicates the supernatural quality, the divine quality of the West Wind, and it is supposed to be the offspring of the bottom. Thou from whose unseen presence, the oxymoronic phrase unseen presence. This quality is possessed by the supernatural being. They are present everywhere, but we cannot see them. And the West Wind is supposed to have unseen presence. As per physics, we know that the wind can never be seen. We can see the activities done by the West Wind. done by the wind. In the same way, the west wind with its unseen presence leaves dead or driven. The number of activity is the dead leaves. The dead leaves are driven elsewhere by the west wind. Like ghost from an enchanter play. I have already told you, Shelley is famous for his uses of images. He uses so many images in his poems, and it is one of the images, like ghost from an enchanter play. We know when a man is induced by a ghost, then enchanter comes and the ghost flees. In the same way, here the west wind is supposed to be the enchanter, and the dead leaves are supposed to be the ghost. With the arrival of the enchanter, meaning the west wind, the ghost, the dead leaves flees. Yellow and black and pale and hectic red. Hectic red meaning decayed red. And these are the various types of colors. These are the colors of the leaves which are diseased. But these colors also finger at the multidimensional problems experienced by the human beings in the jaundiced world. Pestilence strike in multitudes. The leaves are referred to by this phrase. Pestilence meaning paralyzed, meaning diseased. Multitudes meaning huge amount of leaves, autumnal leaves. O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed the winged seed. Another activity of the west wind comes out, and it is driving away the winged seed to their dark wintry bed. When the wind comes, then the winged seeds start to fly. The bird imagery is there, and they fall elsewhere. They fall on the ground from where the germination takes place. And that ground is said to be bed, but it is dark and wintry. Dark meaning that the seeds are stored underground, and underground cellar is always cold, meaning wintry. The west wind preserves the winged seeds into their dark wintry bed, where they lie cold and low. Cold meaning lifelessness condition. Cold meaning staying in the cold. Low meaning the seeds are preserved under soil. Each like a corpse within its grave. Another famous image. The dead bodies are buried. In the same way, the winged seeds are buried under soil, but the difference is that the dead bodies do not come into life, whereas the winged seeds, which are stored like dead bodies, corpse meaning dead body, the winged seeds quicken into new life. Until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth. The winged seeds lie cold and low underground for a long season. During the spring season, the azure sisters of the west wind, meaning west wind of spring, here west wind of autumn and west wind of spring, are said to be cousins. Azure meaning the wind during the spring season blows touching almost the sky. That's why the wind seems to assume the color of azure. That's why it is said to be azure sister. Clarion meaning one kind of word trumpet creating sound, meaning west wind of spring blows with a sound of the over the dreaming earth. Dreaming earth meaning earth lacking lives, earth lacking germination, and fill with living hues and colors plain and hill. Finally, what happens? Due to the germination of the winged seeds, the entire place, starting from hill to very plain, becomes green. The symmetrical greenness covers the earth. I have skipped one line within brackets, and in grammar it is said to be parenthesis. Now, I will read the line in bracket. Driving sweet birds like flocks to feed in air. There is a image. The shepherds take their sheep to the field for making them pregnant with grasses. Again, the religious messiah, religious prophets are supposed to be shepherd, and we the human beings are supposed to be the sheep. The religious prophets or messiah make us pregnant with the religious messages, the religious words of gods and goddesses. Here, the west wind is supposed to be the shepherd, and the winged seeds are supposed to be the sheep. The winged seeds are made pregnant by the west wind with new life. Wild spirit which are moving everywhere. Again, west wind is supposed to be wild, and it has a spiritual quality. That's why it is spirit. It is moving everywhere. We know only God is, only supernatural being, only the divine being has this quality. The God is supposed to be omnipresent, meaning God can reside everywhere. Here the west wind moves everywhere. Naturally, the God is said to be spirit, destroyer and preserver. The west wind is said to be destroyer, and the west wind is said to be preserver. West wind is destroyer because it destroys the dried leaves. It is preserver because it preserves the winged seeds for the purpose of quickening into new life. But the phrase destroyer and preserver alludes to Hindu mythology, to gods of Hindu mythology, Vishnu and Shiva. Destroyer is Shiva and preserver is Vishnu. So the west wind, I have already told you, has spiritual being, spiritual quality. It has taken the quality of two Hindu gods, Shiva and Vishnu. Here, it is emotional address made by Shelley to the west wind. The emotion comes out because the internal Shelley and external west wind tallies. There is semblance. Because of the semblance, P.V. Shelley cannot but emotionally addresses the west wind itself. He just asks because there is internal relationship, and internal relationship provokes Shelley to address the west wind in an emotional way. In the second stanza, Shelley describes the revolutionary activity of the west wind on the sky. What does he say? He says, "Thou on whose stream, amid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are set." The west wind creates a commotion in the sky, and it is supposed that there is river flowing, of course river of air, not of water, and the west wind makes a commotion, creates a commotion. It turmoils the river of air in the sky. Naturally, the loose clouds, meaning cloudlets, like earth's decaying leaves are set. We know the west wind caused the autumnal leaves fall. In the same way, west wind is forcing the cloudlets, which are equated with the decaying leaves, to fall. Shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean, angels of rain and lightning. There is an image. Suppose vapor is going upward and the vapor is being consolidated to form the cloudlets. If we conjure up the scene, then we will have a picture of a tree. And if someone stirs or jerks the tree, then what will happen? The leaves will be falling. In the same way, the west wind creates a commotion in the sky, and the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean, from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean, the cloudlets fall. Got it? Now, angels of rain and lightning. The clouds are said to be angels. Why? It is the harbinger. The cloud is the harbinger of rain and lightning. Until and unless cloud comes in the sky, then most probably, the raining and lightning will not happen. They are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge. Airy surge meaning wavy current. The west wind blows, touching the bent cover of the sky, and blue surface is, sky is blue, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce maenad. Another image is there. Maenad, Maenad is the frenzied woman worshipper of Bacchus. Now, who is Bacchus? Bacchus is the Roman god of wine. Maenad, while worshipping Bacchus, is completely drunken. Naturally, she lets her hair loose and the hair jumps over her head, and it creates a curve. In the same way, west wind touching the blue surface blows. Naturally, the same picture comes in the sky. The picture of Maenad's hair, meaning curving picture. We seem to be in the earth, and we seem to be covered with Afton cauldron. And if the air touches and blows along the curved surface of the cauldron, then the same picture comes out. Even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith side, the range of the west wind, the range of the current of the west wind is from horizon to the zenith. Zenith meaning topmost height in the sky. Zenith meaning topmost height in the sky. Meaning west wind blows from horizon to the sky, zenith, and it seems to be curving, and it is equated with the uplifted hair of Maynard. The locks of the approaching storm, meaning locks of the approaching storm is equal to the locks of Maynard. Thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre. The west wind seems to be discharging dirge. Dirge, you know, the funeral song. Dirge meaning funeral song. And dirge meaning funeral song. And west wind is discharging dirge because the year has been dead. And as the year is dead, it has to be buried and vaulted with all thy congregated might. And it has to be buried, so there will be a roof of the burial, and it will be created by the congregated might of vapors and aerosols. You know, sepulchre means grave. Sepulchre means grave or tomb, from whose solid atmosphere black rain, fire and hail will burst here or here. And from that solid atmosphere, black rain, fire and hail will be occurring. Now these are the elements, byproducts of revolution. Why is rain black? The rain is black because it is nocturnal rain, nighttime rain, and it is again black rain because rain is polluted. Shelley here seems to be attacking the industrialism. So again Shelley addresses the west wind with emotion, here or here. It is because there is semblance in between external west wind and internal Shelley. So thank you very much.